about nothing. Two morons are talking. They both are really funny.
Good idea.
They just go with the flow. It's the Hershey and Keegs Show.
Welcome to Hershey and the Keegs Show, starring pitcher Mark Hirschman and his personal catcher, Mike Keegan. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live from the Governor's Comedy Club radio studio. Thanks so much for listening.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday night. It's 9 p.m. I think you guys might know what that means. That means it's the Hershey and the Keegs Show. We are about to have some fun. It's me and Mark.
Yeah, that's us.
Solo. Me and Mark, but we're kind of solo tonight. We haven't not had a guest. We're kicking it old school. I think the kids call it raw dogging.
We're raw dogging each other after the show. We have not had a guest. I can't remember the last time that this has happened where we have a show with no guests. By plan, obviously.
Yeah,
because we could always have a guest if we want.
People are clawing the doors down.
People are clawing the doors down. That's exactly right. But we have no guests, and that's the way it's going to be. Yep. And we have a lot of shit to go over. Exactly. So we don't need a guest always. Sometimes we need to go back to our roots, OG style.
OG.
That's how it started.
Exactly.
That's how this whole fucking thing started. If you remember,
when we started, we said we're never really going to have a guest.
We probably don't want to have a guest ever as long as we live. Is what we said.
Yeah.
So we are going to go.
But you know what? People claw the doors down, and we've had some great guests.
It. All right. So we're going to start. You know what we're going to do tonight? We're going to do a little flip flop. I'm going to do the second set. I'm going to flip and flop. We're going to do our second set of advertisers first to give the people a chance.
Crazy. To
give the people a chance.
Yeah, so some people tune out after.
Some people tune out after 3 minutes. Exactly. So, Exactly.
Nobody has any idea my mother's a real estate agent.
No clue. They don't know. They don't even know you have a mother.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know anything about that. We are going to start with our wonderful people at Sunray Services. Hershey and the Keegs Show is proud to be sponsored by Eric Half Sunray Services. Now is the best time to convert to hybrid heating and cooling. Call them today at 631-231-5533 or visit them online at www.sunrayservices.com. Then, of course, we have our dear buddies over at Triple M Professional Painting and Construction, 516-395-6390. Family owned and operator for over 35 years. Call for your free estimate today and ask for James. And then, of course, we have the finest in dry cleaning. We have Dimitri's Valet Cleaners on Wantagh Avenue in Levittown. They have been in the dry cleaning business for over 35. No, actually, if it's 1965, how many years is that, Mike?
Well, that's like 73 years.
Or something like that. Maybe 55, but it's a lot.
Probably 55 years.
They take your garment care very seriously. Quality is their policy. Mention Hershey and the Keegs for 15% off of your purchase. 15% off. If you bring $100 worth of clothing, a dress to be kept, or whatever it is, that's 100 minus 15%. It's probably about $15.
That's like $95.
85 total is what you'd spend instead of 100. Yeah. Then we have Demolition Specialists, 1-855-RIP-OUTS, the number you call for demolition, dumpsters, and fence rental. Family owned and operator for over 30 years. They are a fully licensed demolition contractor. And then, of course, to close out our first set of sponsors, we have New York State licensed real estate person, Diane Keegan, from Oil Island Estates Realty Corporation. You can call Diane directly at 516-458-1864 or email her at diane@allislandestates.com. If you're looking to
adopt,
rent, sell, foster,
buy, you could buy too.
Buy as well. Make Diane your first call. Diane happens to be also Michael's mom.
Yes.
And she is wonderful. And I actually reached out to her yesterday regarding a real estate need, as you saw in the text, and you didn't respond to typically. That is our first set of sponsors, and we'll go to our second set first later.
The second set first later?
Yes, later first, exactly.
The first one second later.
Dude, we have a lot to cover, bro. We have a lot to cover.
Oh my God, we do.
The first thing that we wanted to talk about, you and I were texting about, and again, when we talk about these things, comedians talk about things, and they're not poking fun at serious matters. We think that things that are serious are as serious as anybody, but there are things that we draw out of it that are poignant or I don't even know if humor is the right word, but
it's also a coping mechanism.
We cope. We need to cope. We have have coping strategies.
Our
that
minds
we
work differently, and that's our job.
We do.
Is to have minds that work differently.
So the sad part of the story, which we will all acknowledge, and you and I texted about, of course, is that there was a horrific plane crash the other day. No, that's not what we laugh at. It's not a laugh moment right there.
Okay.
There's a terrible plane crash. What is the word?
A plane crash.
Yeah.
That's what a 12
I thought I saw a pussycat. Yeah. That could be why it happened, but it was, I believe it was an airplane going from India to London. Is that right?
Yes.
Or was it London going to India?
I think it was India going to London.
India going to London, and the most incredible thing happened. Certainly not incredible that 243 people died. It was horrific, and may they all rest in peace. Awful, awful, awful.
That's incredible.
The fucking wacky thing about it is that the 244th person in seat 11A not only survived the plane crash, he walked out of the plane. He walked out of the fucking plane.
Yep.
Okay? Now, you wonder about God and Jesus and Allah and other things that people pray to. How did 243 people perish and one person walk away? He was in the hospital. He was being questioned. He was a little bit banged up.
Sure, he was. He was in a plane crash. But what was that from Pulp Fiction? Divine Intervention?
Is that what it was? What do you think it was? It's really horrific.
Or he was coming from India. Maybe he had a magic carpet.
I don't know what happened. I just know that they saw him like walking away from the plane. I'm like, dude, what's up? He's like, yeah, I was just in that plane crash.
Yeah,
just wiping it off like he had a little like slice on his shirt. And then they're like,
you ever get into like a little fender bender and you're just like, that's what he was doing.
Pretty much. It was a fender bender.
Come on.
So my question to you is, so they see him and they stop and they say, well, what about Jimmy? Gone. What about Mary? Gone.
Yeah, their names weren't Jimmy or Mary.
What about Pete and Frank and Luigi?
Yeah,
gone. They're all gone.
Everybody gone.
Is there any way to rationalize, other than you use divine intervention? Is there any way to possibly rationalize what happened there?
There isn't. I mean, it's not like he was in the very, very front of the plane, or the very, very rear of the plane. Mm-hmm. I have no idea. I mean, we should follow this guy around, like not us follow him around,
right?
But just see what's going on with this guy. Like maybe he's meant to be here.
Maybe I wonder if he's going to wind up being some sort of a king. I don't want to say king. I'm not looking to do that.
There were no kings in America.
I don't want to say that, but I'm saying I wonder if he's going to wind up being some sort of a revered figure or prophet or something where people look at him as some sort of a heroic figure.
Yeah, they definitely have to have some kind of interview. They didn't do any interviews with him yet, I'm sure. Right?
No, they interviewed him in his hospital bed, just sitting there, chill, like.
But I mean, a sit down, like Barbara Walters. Is she alive?
Barbara Wawa is not alive, but Diane Sawyer is alive.
Diane Sawyer interview there should be.
She could interview him, and she probably will interview him at some point. I think he's leaving the hospital like tomorrow.
That's crazy.
When there's 243 funerals going on, and he's leaving the hospital tomorrow.
It's him in the black box.
It's really just crazy. Unbelievable. And you know what? Rest in peace to all the ones that had passed. Yeah. And
thank God.
Maybe there's a reason.
Maybe they can figure out like what happened that he survived, and maybe they can implement that in future safety protocols.
You could be working for the FDA or whatever they call it,
the Food and Drug Administration.
Right, exactly.
You would deals with the
good at that. Yeah, what kind of food he was eating?
The FAA.
Maybe he didn't have peanuts. Maybe that was the thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
he had the kosher meal.
Rest in peace to him and
no.
I mean to them,
to
the
them,
rest
not
of them,
him.
And for him,
live in peace.
God bless you, man. God bless you, and live in peace. Since we're on a little bit of an ominous note today, and again, we always say this every week that I try to go through this show without castigating you or finding reason to be picking at you.
You try, and we're 6 minutes in.
But the problem is that you don't really make it easy for me, okay?
That's my job.
And listen, we said from the start of this show that we're going to be honest, and we're going to...
That's why Tony hired me.
We're going to tell the tell.
Years ago. Yeah.
He did. That's why Tony hired you, is right. We're going to tell the tell. And so there was news that came down earlier in the day, and I didn't know about it until I saw you, as usual, making some sort of a remark on a Facebook post or a Twitter post, or whatever it was. Very sadly, 55-year-old food connoisseur from the TV Food Network and Ann Burrell had passed away at 55 years old today. And she was on TV. She was not on a plane. No. She was on nothing like that whatsoever. That she had passed away. She did not die in a plane crash. They don't know how she died actually, but she passed, and she was well known for cooking shows and things like that. And so I didn't know about it, but of course, when someone you know comments on a post, it'll come up.
Yeah.
So her name's Ann Burrell, Burrell, and I see a post that came up with, of course, Mike Keegan. I wonder if they'll do a public or a private burial. And I thought that was very insensitive for the fact that she had passed for and like, of course, the comments are like, you're a dick, you should kill yourself, all this stuff, and I'm laughing at the fact that people are ripping you apart. But what makes your mind work where you're taking the burial word and the wordplay of burl in there?
My mind works differently than most people.
Yeah,
and I was wondering. No, I was really just trying to write burial, but it was a typo.
Oh, is that what it was? No. Okay, I gotcha. So it was just.
At first, I thought it was the diner, driving, and dives guy. Because and
wait a second, they're a different person.
And apparently, I guess so. Because he's still tooling around.
What is it?
She was known for the blonde spiky hair.
Yeah, but so is Spike McGee, whatever his name is. What was the guy?
Guy Fieri.
Yeah, Guy Fieri. Yeah. Exactly. What is with the people in that industry?
Couldn't have been him.
What is with the people in that industry, though? Tell me what's with the people in that industry where they feel they need to have white spiky hair.
That's what it is. If you ever go to like any of these these gastro pubs or anything, all the chefs are like butchy lesbian women with tattoo sleeves, and you ever notice this? And
so that's Guy Fieri.
It's a look, it's a look that they, they're not the classic, galloping gourmet chef looking people.
Exactly right.
They have a look now.
Well, I would safe to say that her fan base detests you with a passion.
They did before, actually.
Well, now that because it wasn't.
No, I enjoyed her very, very much.
You did enjoy her. You did enjoy her.
And you know what? Like I said, that's a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Rather than say rest in peace, I feel stupid saying that. I'm like, let me cheer myself up a little.
Don't patronize.
I don't care what millions of people think. I'm cheering myself up.
Right. Yeah. I have a friend who I don't know if he still does this. He's my good buddy Rich Glanzer. And growing up, whenever we heard that someone had died, he immediately started laughing. He couldn't not just like he would battle a smile, but he would be breaking out in laughter. And that wasn't any sort of meanness or anything like that. It was just a nervous reaction. Yeah. So maybe your response innately is to just say something stupid.
Exactly.
You know,
like you should be a psychologist, because that's what it is. I mean, I'm sorry. I enjoyed her work.
You did enjoy her work.
I enjoyed a well-cooked meal.
You do like a well-cooked meal.
I like women with blonde hair.
You do like women with blonde hair. What's interesting is that she had vacillated. She was married to a man. She
vacillated too?
She did. The same. Well, that's why she died.
That's a shame.
That's why she passed. She was married to a man for a bit, and then she, at one point, was a woman type.
She
like
was a woman. She was a woman like her.
Yeah. So
she was a lesbian. She was spiky dykey.
I don't. That's not what. No, that's not what her name was at all. No, that's what you had said it was. But rest in peace to her.
Rest in peace. I didn't know. I really did enjoy her work, and she, from what I hear, she's a wonderful person.
Speaking of work, I thought you'd get a kick out of this because you have been known when you have free time. Not doing stand-up or not with taking care of your kid or being with Carla, you sometimes work in the IT field.
I do a little computer work. A techie.
So I thought you'd appreciate this. This morning I get into work, my own day job, and of course people are always surprised, like how does this guy with this type of level of fame potential?
Because otherwise your mind just races, and you
need to keep our minds fresh and live and moving. Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I come in and I try to print out a few things, some emails and whatnot, and I'm getting a printer error, and I'm getting it popping up saying that it's printing offline. I don't really know what that means, where the offline thing. And
usually have to power cycle the printer.
So what happens is I get a little fatigued and I'm a little anxious because my day is starting in a way that I'm not happy with. And when you deal with a neurotic nutcase like myself,
I know you handle adversity.
I don't handle adversity well at all. So I tracked down my guy Nick, the IT guy, who's a good buddy of mine. I care for him a lot, and he cares for me a lot. And as a matter of fact, when he set up my printer, the name of my printer that he put in our system, if anyone else in the school wants a print off of it, it just says "I love you" is the printer. So that's my printer name. So I track him down, and he knows that I'm quite a little bit of a cuckoo bird. And I find him, and I'm like, dude, can you come to my office when you get a chance? He's like, let's just go now. Wow. And so this is about 15 minutes after the scene of the crime, where it's not printing, and I track him down, I find him, I open up the door of my office, he walks in, and the next thing you know, the printer just starts printing out the papers.
Really?
That's it.
That's all it takes sometimes. I'm like, just not a nervous little Jewish guy.
And I'm like, that is some really good work. I don't know if you learn that here.
Sometimes all you got to do is look at it.
If you have a doctorate for this.
It's like your printer was just like, all right, I get it. I got the IT guy here, all right.
Dude, he's like, all right, well, let's take a look. I'm like, there's nothing to take a look at. You fixed it. All my shit's right here.
There you go.
Everything is right here. So ultimately, I think that's a talent that he has, and maybe you do too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The I Love You printer's back alive.
Yeah, he fixed it, and that was. I keep on seeing someone walk over here and back. I don't know who that is over there. Are we getting someone that's looking to pop into our show over here? I can't even tell.
A large individual.
Yeah, I don't know. What the heck?
My God,
what a surprise!
Oh my God, look at this.
Whoa, my goodness.
It's only been 3 years of us trying to get this guy
Put on your headphones. Wow, what a surprise this is. We thought there was a Sasquatch in the hallway. Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, Long Island comedian, actor, writer, podcaster,
everything.
Chris Roach.
Wow, what in the world are you doing here, handsome? Hold on.
What's happening?
So this is a
son of a bitch. How are you?
You know what's funny is that we had an idea that he was going to be in the neighborhood. We didn't know he was still here. Tonight happened to be the first night of Christopher Roach's podcast. He will be doing a podcast going forward on Tuesdays at 7 p.m., which is 2 hours before us. The format is going to definitely be him, and I think the tack right now is that he's going to be working with a different guest host until he figures out his game plan. Is that right, Mr. Roach?
That's right. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Nice.
But we just jumped in with 2 feet today, and we're trying things out. We're not even set on a name yet. We don't know.
So I think it's safe to say you're not set on a name yet because of the fact that you don't have a definite locked-in co-host. Is that right?
Right. I want to try a few co-hosts. Today was Rosie.
Rosie Famara.
Which,
Yep.
I came in with a few topics today. We were having fun with them. And then all of a sudden we just clicked about like 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
And we started talking about relationships and stuff like that. And it was like, boom.
Boom.
That was it.
Like a hurricane.
So we could use a relationship podcast on this network, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like Dr. Drew.
I know from my conversation with Roach that you, which I didn't know this about you, but you have a passion for psychology and for studying things and for analyzing, and that's going to be your tact on this show. Is that right?
Yes, I've always been fascinated with the criminal mind.
Yeah.
And the narcissist mind. It's just fascinating because I always say people, we're all the same, but yet we're so different. So when somebody does something effed up, you're like, why would I do that? If I was that person, why would I do that?
Yeah.
And also, for example, I have a friend that is a little bit of a bad seed, and he would always show up now and then, and he had a different car. I'm like, dude, what happened to the car you had last time? He goes, this is a new car. I'm like, where'd you get it? He goes, 7-Eleven. I was like, what?
I didn't know they sell cars there.
Yeah, I'm like, what's 7-Eleven? He goes, yeah, you need a car. You go to 7-Eleven or a post office. People run in for like 1 minute.
Yeah.
Leave their car running. He goes, you sit in their car and you take off. I'm like, if the world was coming to an end, I couldn't think like that. The criminal mind.
right? Yeah.
And
No.
then you look at those people like the Ponzi schemers. Like these are brilliant minds.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That just turn to evil, and it's
That's
just
right.
fascinating.
Well, I would say the worst people in civilization are probably the smartest people, generally speaking.
Yes,
right?
geniuses.
The Ted Bundys of the world, and
Ted Bundys.
yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. This is an interesting thing that you're going to be doing here. Is this something that's been going on since you started comedy? More recently, after you were on TV, what was the evolution of you deciding to do a little bit of a deeper dive into psychology?
In the last few months.
Yeah.
The last few months, I started thinking about it. You know, you go through life, you go through changes, and relationships, and you start learning a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
Through the way other people treat you. You're like, you know what? There's something here. And you start talking to other mentally scarred people like Mike Keegan, and you realize that
Yeah.
we're not so different.
So it's interesting though.
We're
because
anxious attachers.
you've actually had, and I'm curious as far as the how your mental status has been over the years, because for those who don't know Chris Roach, and the truth is most of you probably do who are fans of ours, Roach has been a stand-up comic now for going on, I think it's about 21 years. Okay, so
Your stand-up comedy can legally drink.
He's a stand-up comic. He's a
Ooh.
traveling road comic. He's a headliner. And then he had an opportunity that kind of just fell in his lap maybe 8 years. How many years ago are we talking when it first started? Yeah.
It was 2016.
Okay, so we're talking about almost 9
9
years
years.
ago where, without getting too into it because the story's been told already, but McGuire's Comedy Club, Roach was on stage, Kevin James was there. It was looking to go ahead and put together a new TV show, and next thing you know, Chris Roach was a star of a TV show on CBS for 2 years. Obviously, that was the high of highs, and then subsequently, anything after that probably is going to be a little bit of a low. So
Yeah.
I guess we talked a little bit about it earlier today, you and I, Chris, is that the idea of how people treated you before, during, after.
Yes.
Is that something that's made you decide that you want to really you want to understand what the hell was going on here? Did these people really care about you before, during, after, since? You know what I mean? Like, is that something you analyze a lot?
100%.
Yeah.
I remember when things were hot, the way people treated me, and when the things started to cool off, the same people treated me. You really, you know what? I have a handful of friends that genuinely get happy for your success.
Yeah.
And then you have the friends, they love you. If anybody messes with you, they'll be there.
Yeah.
You need a ride, they'll be there, but they want to see you fall down.
Yeah.
Wow.
They want to see you fall down. They'll pick you up.
Yeah.
They want to see you fall down. They want to see you do good. But hey, whoa.
Yeah.
Don't do gooder than me.
Isn't that fun? Isn't that
Rare,
amazing?
and I'm not even just saying it because you're here, but I don't know one person that wasn't super happy for you at that time. And I've treated Chris the same way I've treated him
Yes.
since
Yeah.
before and
Yeah.
after.
BJ's all the
There you
time.
go.
Yes.
But in our community, there are a lot of people that'll hit and get some success. And
Yeah.
that person's serious, but everybody that I know was very excited.
No, I
for you.
had a
But I'm
comedian-
sure you've had a lot of people. In your
Yeah,
life
no, I had
that are not.
a local guy come up to me like a year later. He goes, I just want to apologize to you. I'm like, why? He goes, I was really mad when you got that show, and I said he doesn't deserve it. I do. Like he really. I'm like,
Yeah.
he never had to tell me that. I'm like, I didn't know you were feeling that.
Yeah.
You know,
Chris
it's-
Monte's been in here quite a few
Yeah.
times.
Many times, and he's repeated that so many times to us. Yeah. He's like Ben Bailey, then Chris Roach. It's like,
Oh
what the
my
fuck?
God! Oh, that's a great story.
So
Sad, but great.
I remember when it happened. I mean, I was out of my gourd excited because to me, this was the Chris Roach that was taking pictures of my kids at White Post Farm and being the lovable bear that I loved
You
from
knew
the
about
time.
that?
You know what? Explain that a little further. That sounded real. That
My
didn't sound
kids,
good.
yeah.
No,
White
I-
Post Farm.
I
was
had a game
closed.
show. I had a game
He
show.
wasn't behind
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the cornfield with my pants off.
White Post Farms was closed for the season, and Chris Roach was there with his big pants down his ankles.
I'm your Uncle Roachy.
But the crazy thing was that the first on-scene shoot was around the block from here, right in
I remember you
Levittown.
showed up.
I showed
That
up.
was so cool.
I showed up. I didn't go to work that day. I went in late, and Roach was in like some sort of motor scooter or some sort
Yeah.
of scooter, and like you came up, and it was like you were still Roach to me. Like it never changed. And listen, of course, we were all rooting our asses off. The people that really, really love you you, loved you even more because of what was happening, and we love you the same now. Like it doesn't change, because the truth is, you might get another TV show. We want to make sure we're in there for it.
If anyone's gonna get it,
We want to make sure
and we're
that
willing
we're
to look past those 2 years when we weren't allowed to make eye contact with
right,
you.
right. That's right. I do remember back in the day, one time I came in and he was like, not in the green room. He was like in with Mark Lund in like an office with the door closed.
Right.
Like I'm like, oh, this is what it's going to be like.
Oh,
but nothing's
God.
ever changed.
No, he was never like that.
Nothing's
No,
changed.
I
will be.
You know, it's interesting. You still have you'll still go on the road with Kevin James, but then you'll still be on a show on McGuire's on a Thursday. So you're still there. You're still in there.
Yeah, you still have a low self-esteem.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still, listen, Kevin. He got his guy got plane tickets for me Friday. I'm opening up for him in Rochester.
Oh yes.
And then next Monday I'll be at an open mic by my house.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
Right.
It's all these new comedians. It's kind of cool when you go there and like you've been doing it long enough. When you walk in, there's like 10 comedians. Like, oh my God, look who it is. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's right.
That's it, bitches.
That's right.
That's
Still
right.
have-
Yeah.
I'll
You
still
bu-
go in your pool
Yeah.
hall open mics and
Yes.
so, yeah,
We're at the Den.
But you
That's
know who
right.
I am.
We're at the Den in Deer Park on Deer Park Avenue, and I'm gonna go in front of you guys. I'm gonna bump you.
I'm gonna bump you. I'm gonna bump you at the pool hall open mic.
I'm gonna bump you, Monica Towler. Rest in peace.
Like a tower.
Rest in peace.
God
Rest
bless
in
her.
peace.
Oh,
Yes,
that's right. She
exactly,
died.
yeah.
Oh my God, yes. I was
Rest
thinking
in
of another
peace.
Monica.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Speaking of rest in peace, and we should touch on this because it is kind of coincidental that we were talking about Ann Burrell, but Roach happened to be legitimately real friends with Ann from. Tell us a little bit about how you met Ann and your relationship with her.
Yeah, so when I got, I got on Kevin's show, I got a publicist, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, I said I'm a huge Ranger fan. I'm sitting behind the bench, and she was I thought I was going to get, they were just going to put me anywhere at the Garden. They have a celebrity section that I was unaware of, so I'm sitting in the celebrity section, like, meeting people, and she was the first person to befriend me, and we became friends, and I remember she's from Syracuse, her sister and her husband came out, I got them tickets, and she was trying to get me on the show, America's Worst Cooks, but the producers thought we were friends. It was a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But she was cool. She was also a diehard Ranger fan.
Right.
And it's just like, it's a stunner. Like, oh my God, people ask me, what do you think happened? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But she, from what you remember, she was you told me earlier today when we spoke that she lived her life to the fullest. She lived every second of every minute.
Look at her Instagram page, traveling, always laughing, always. One of her hashtags was "Love What I Do." It was just unbelievable. And you know what I always remember? We were in between periods. They put you into like a little room with sternos and couches, and I'm sitting in this little room. It's probably like twice the size as this room here.
Yeah.
And I'm in there with like Chandler from Friends, all these like.
Dead.
Mark Messier.
Yeah.
Mark Messier.
Almost
Mark
dead.
Messier would see me go. Mark
Stop
Messier
doing
would go,
this. I
hey,
wanna-
man.
you're blocking.
But I remember they had these truffle potato chips, and I was like, I love these.
I made it.
And she goes, you can't get those. He goes, do you know that you can't get real truffle oil in the United States? She goes, it's all manufactured. There's no such thing as real truffle oil.
Did that totally fuck it up for you?
It kind of ruined it for
It
me.
did,
a lot.
right?
I can't wait to tell Carla that because she
Yeah,
loves trouble.
real-
I
no.
hate trouble. I think people
It's-
only like
it's
trouble
all- no.
because people tell you you're supposed to like it. I don't like
This is coming from and I remember she had a restaurant in Long Beach, and I never went. She invited me, but I never went because I'm always. And my brother has a deli.
Yeah, at Yaphank. Yeah.
Yaphank, and I never go there because I don't want anybody to give me free stuff. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, hey, this meal's on me. I'm like, no.
Here's $10 for the sandwich.
Here's
Yeah.
$10. Thank you, Amber Ale, for the
That's
surf
what
and
it is. I'll
turf.
do that, and like they'll give me free stuff. Like my friend Esther Acosta, her family owns.
Oh, Esther's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Is she Cuban, right?
She's Cuban.
Yeah.
Cuban, right.
They own Rincon Criollo in
Oh, my
Mineola,
God.
which is an amazing Cuban restaurant
Really?
that I loved before I even knew her. And we go there the other night, and I'm with Carla and Juliana and Isabella, and everything's on the house. And then I end up just spending more money than I would have spent because I'm like just tipping her.
That's
Tipping.
true.
More than I
Yeah,
would've-
that's true.
Yeah.
'cause I don't like getting free stuff.
They make the Cuban sandwich. With
Oh,
the,
God, that Cuban
they make the
sandwich.
pull. Do they make the pulled pork there?
Oh,
God.
my
It's amazing.
God. in
Did
Did just
heaven.
white guys order that? Or some, I don't know. Is that a white guy
Exactly, yeah.
sandwich?
Yeah,
I got a
yeah.
Cuban and a Coke.
Not one Cuban man has ever eaten a
No,
Cuban
but they're
sandwich.
unbelievable,
They're just
especially when
called
they.
sandwiches.
Wait, hold on a second. What is with this new background that Tony has where it looks like Mike has 6 chins and I have 11? What's going on here? What is that all of a sudden?
You don't like that?
I know, I like it. I've never seen you do that before. I like it. It's good.
Tried something new today.
Roach, I remember very well from the game you're talking about, and they put you on the screen, and I think Truson was there. One of the first games with you.
Yeah,
for
Truson,
sure.
Truson came. Truson was at the first game they called me into because Truson was he was the one that called me into that Wednesday show. Hey, come on in. Colin Quinn's working stuff out, and him being so supportive of my career. And Kevin showed up that night. And I found out later on after I auditioned that I got cast that night at McGuire's.
Wow.
Jesus.
For the show. So
I remember we saw pictures of that, and it was you, and it was Truson, and then it was Mark Messier, who I think was sitting behind you, actually.
Yeah.
Which was like...
Mark Messier does not get the Chris Rhodes.
Like, hey, Mark, keep it down, please. Stop. You're breathing on my neck.
But it wasn't even like he was sitting in front of Roach. Like, Roach was like practically on the bench. Like, you were right...
Mark Messier is sitting behind the 7-foot-tall guy.
He put me on the Jumbotron, he's hiding behind me.
Guy won a Stanley Cup in '94 and can't get a seat.
The King of New York, and he didn't see a minute of that game because of Roach's big fucking cranium. Totally crazy. But rest in peace to your friend. I know that you really were friends with her, and we were talking about how when a celebrity passes, everyone looks to jump and post a picture if they have with them, and this is one of the rare situations where you're going to post a picture of someone that you had a relationship with, that she was your buddy. You hung out at games with her and texted and stuff like that. So,
sorry. She was awesome.
Rest in peace, and sorry what Mike said about the whole Burrell thing.
What?
Burrell.
He wasn't in here.
But we're you know what? Comedians, we deal with death differently.
That's right.
Even like at my dad's wake, all the comedians are one corner. We're all laughing hysterical, and people looking like, "What's going on back there?"
Yeah, it was me, you, it was Keith. We had
Anthony.
Yeah. Walker was there. Well, if you remember when your mom died many years ago, the shit that I took for what I was wearing. If you remember,
you showed up to my mom's wake in corduroy pants.
Okay.
I'm like, you don't wear corduroy to a wake.
Well, not only that, I had corduroy pants on, but I had a jacket that had like the arm. What do you call those arm pads that I was wearing?
High school English teacher.
I don't know what was going on, but I was so excited that I was going to get a chance to go somewhere that like there was other comics at. It was your mom died what year?
2011.
So I had just started. I started in 2010. So someone's like, "Hey, Chris Roach's mom died." I'm like, "She did?" I'm like, "Oh my god, when?"
Like, what are you doing here? Why are you wearing corduroy?
He's like, yeah. You see someone that did happen. I've been at personal family funerals where people show up and you're like, what are they exactly doing here?
Right.
But then Roach made me feel so comfortable, which was really the most important thing at his mom's wake.
And then
I felt comfortable.
And then I got to go to your dad's shiva, right?
Oh, dude, we have a lot of intimate death stories with us. That's right.
You know, it's so cool. Like he showed. He knows how much at the shiva, how much I love the food. And the Dr. Brown's black cherry.
And
he shows up at my dad's wake with a can of Dr. Brown's black cherry.
Wow. He's very thoughtful with
what
stuff
was
like
interesting
that,
is that when my dad died in 2017, my childhood best friend at the time owned a kosher deli called the Woodrow Deli, which is very well known in Five Towns, Hewlett. And so my dad died. He loved my dad. He knew my dad since he was 5 years old. My dad not being 5 years old.
He knew your dad since
my friend is 92, actually, my best friend. And so Chris Bruno sent, when I tell you it was like pounds of like corned beef and tongue and roast beef and cream soda, and Roach gets there and he's never seen a display of food that you saw in your life at my house that day.
I love Jew food. It's so
I love kosher. I love that. Now I got to go to Ben's now. I gotta
go. We should
somewhere.
go. So this was and I remember the shiva was over, and I'm like, I'm sending him home with like 6 packs of soda and like knishes.
The knishes, the potato lockies, whatever they're called.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember I went to your father-in-law's shiva.
That's right. You and your mom came.
Great kosher food there.
Yes.
And I went to I couldn't wait to go to because I knew I was going to one like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait for the food, and they had Italian catered. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh my God!
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not here for this.
Wait, it was a Jewish.
It was a Jewish shiva at a house.
Yeah.
And they had Italian and Greek food catered.
Damn.
I'm like, this was the corned beef.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
There was so much food at his dad's shiva, like you can see they had left. It's weird. Like when my mom died, people were sending baskets of food for days.
Yeah.
And you know what they kept sending? We got a lot of, which we didn't even eat. The edible arrangements.
Oh my!
I remember watching TV. It was one guy. Well, somebody sent like I didn't know this, but a whole bunch of stuff from Panera, sandwiches. It was great. I was watching TV with my dad one day. We hear a van door shut, And I look out the window, he goes, and I look out the window and I look at my father, I go, oh no. He goes, no, not again. I'm like, yep, Edible Arrangements is here again.
I mean, there comes to a point where how many chocolate-covered pineapple squares could you eat?
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
And they are delicious, by the way.
They are,
pineapple
but-
is somehow they make it where it's always the ripest pineapple.
Yes.
But 6 days of it is a lot.
We had no room in the fridge. I can't eat it because I always remember Keith Anthony used to do a bit about the edible arrangements. He's like, there's some Mexican look at his fingers, go, I'm gonna make this for the lady. She's gonna like it, and he's looking at his fingers, and I always pictured out some. She's gonna like this.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how it doesn't matter what comic we have in here that there's always it seems to be a Keith reference. Who
Everybody ends up talking about Keith.
Roach,
Anthony,
well, Roach is a Kiki lover. You love Keith going back forever.
Yes, love.
Not just as a comic, but as a person. You adore him for sure.
I was at this happened so I was at a restaurant. Okay, I was at the was the Ground Round on 110.
Oh, I love the ground round.
You're going back.
Oh, the Houlihan's.
Oh, when he used to be manager there. Yeah,
I was there with a friend. I said, you ever heard all these comedians like Bill Burr and Jim Gaffigan? He's like, yeah. I said, there's a comedian that good.
Yeah.
And nobody knows who he is.
Right.
And I said, and he's right there.
Right there, managing a ground
across
round
the bar,
Houlihan's.
talking to the waitress right there.
Yeah.
He's right there. He's right there, you know. And it just, you know, some people get that fame and some people don't. And
so we've talked about this so many times, and the bottom line is, the truth is, if he wanted to get that fame, he could. It was just a trajectory that he probably just wasn't prepared to take. And when people have heard me say that he's the funniest comic I've ever seen, for that's a big statement. But I guess the best way I can say it is that I've never laughed harder at a live comedy act than Keith.
Me neither.
Yeah. Period.
And then there was a while he didn't want a headline.
Right.
He would say that too when he goes, please don't say that don't bring me up as your headliner.
Yeah, that's right.
So then I took him. He came with me. He featured for me a few times.
Yeah.
And I'm in the back howling. Then I'm like, wait a second.
I hit the follow.
I gotta follow this.
Wait, what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do? I gotta follow.
That happened to me at the Comedy Cove. He's like, I don't want to close. He was going to close. Gene had booked him to close, and I'm middling. And Keith's like, calls me up. He's like, I don't want to close. I'm in the middle for you. I'm like, no. How am I going to follow you?
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I got to do comedy and I got to watch comedy.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah, beautiful.
But I think one time I went up and I was like, listen, don't expect any of that from me. Even before I started. I got 45 minutes to go. Don't expect that level of energy or,
Yeah.
This is it right here.
He's the best for sure. All right, we're going to take a couple of second break here. I'm going to do some more sponsors. I'm going to go back with Roach and talk some more stuff, and we got a lot of things to cover. Let me know when you're ready, Mr. Tony.
I'm ready, man.
We have our friends over Omid over at Sophia Jewelry at 134 Gardners Avenue right here in Levittown, specializing in diamonds and vintage jewelry. Go see Omid for all of your buying and selling of jewelry and mention Herschy and the Keegs for a free appraisal. We have our newest sponsor, Platinum Chiropractic. Dr. Kimberly O'Connor. They are fully dedicated to providing chiropractic solutions to address your unique needs, whether you're experiencing back pain, neck pain, headaches, muscle tightness, rentals, property ownership. Muscle tightness and tension, 516-935-3555. Legitimately, I have been a patient of Dr. O'Connor. My wife has been. Countless numbers of friends of mine have been a patient of Dr. O'Connor over the past 25 years. I can honestly say that she's the best in the business. So again, if you're having any sort of issues whatsoever, she's right in Hicksville, 516-935-3555. We have New View Construction, established in 2007. They are the people to call for the finest craftsmanship and all of your general contracting needs. Call 516-924-5627 and do it with confidence. And last but not least, my buddy Keith Dunn at American Restoration Solutions. When disaster strikes, they'll guide you to recovery. Call 516-662-9377 and ask for a senior account manager, Keith Dunn. Thank you to all of our sponsors. There's something that I wanted to talk about today, and then when I saw Roach, I'm like, nah, maybe it's not the week to talk about it, but maybe it is, because all three of us here, you saw me post last week that I was really proud of myself, even though no one had really noticed. Thankfully, a couple of people are, that I've lost almost 20 pounds in the past couple of months, and it's hard as hell and all this stuff. And you obviously have lost a lot of weight. Rochi had lost a lot of weight and still looking great. I think it's really important.
I do notice on you today, though.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I saw something yesterday,
I can see your neck.
Yeah. That's what Stacy said. I can see your neck finally, which is nice. But this really hit me.
That's that neck I fell in love with 30 years ago.
I pulled into a Walgreens yesterday. I had to stop in and get a case of water. That's right. Thank you for
get that neck over here.
Look at it, babies.
Get that neck over here.
You got a hickey now? Yeah.
Oh, rub that neck on me.
So I pulled into Walgreens. I wanted to go pick up a case of water from my office, and I saw a lady in her car.
I thought you said queso water. I'm like, there's cheese water now?
No, it's cheese, and it's like a little drippings on the side. Yeah, it's not like an all queso. It's just like a mix, you know? So I see this woman in her car, and she just parked, and you know that she was like going out for lunch for the office, and she's like, I'm just gonna pick up a salad. And I watched her, and she was enjoying this big quesadilla from Taco Bell. I could see the wrapper, and it was just so satiating, and I was like, she is fucking loving that. And I'm thinking to myself, that is the sickness that I have. Thank God I'm in a mental place right now where I'm doing okay and I'm fighting it. But at any time when you have the mental illness and food addiction, you want to be that person sitting there hiding. You don't want Stacy to know. You don't want your kids to know. Well, how did he get so fat? Well, it's because I was doing that. You know what I mean?
Secret, exactly.
Like it's not because of the broccoli and grilled chicken she's giving me 4 nights a week.
No, exactly.
So it has like, how did it happen? Well, ultimately, the idea that this woman, she's in that zone where she just needs to have that feeling. And would you guys both agree that it is something that is akin to, and in some cases worse than drug addiction or alcohol, because you need food to live. You don't need booze to live, or you don't need cocaine to live. Exactly. Would you guys agree with what I'm saying here?
Yeah,
absolutely. Like you can't have it. You have cheat days when you're on a diet. You can't cheat day when you're on alcohol and substances.
Right. My dad used to say, "Eat to live, don't live to eat." But I know what you talk about, that feeling.
Wish I knew that 20 years ago.
You get that the grilled cheese burrito from Taco Bell. Oh, I'm stopping there on the way home.
That's just Taco Bell was always my thing. That was always my thing.
I love Taco.
You know, you say stop, and it's the best. And I love Mexican food. And
but like, so how much satisfaction will you get if you're driving home from a gig, no one's with you, but in your mind you're thinking like, there's a Taco Bell in Parsippany that I've been to before, and I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna get a couple things on the $3 menu, and I'm gonna have a ride home, the ride of a lifetime. And that's a sick way of thinking. But it's, Roach, can you attest to that?
It's a beautiful way to pay. I know whenever I would leave the city, I'm like, Arby's exit 25.
Arby's exit 25.
I was gonna say there's that Arby's right off the Cross Island also.
Yeah.
So,
and that was always my little.
For me, I will tell you that, and it's not there anymore because of the fact that Roy Rogers are gone. But I would do a lot of day trips over the years by myself, or even overnights to Saratoga. And one of the first exits on the way home on the Northway, coming home from Saratoga, there was a Roy Rogers in one of the rest stops. And for me, I was excited at being at the racetrack, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm stopping. I'm getting a 3-piece chicken with a biscuit. I'm getting I'm getting the Fixins bar. I'm loading up on pickles, and I'm getting a cheeseburger for later on in the trip and a shake. Now that's a lot of disgustingness.
Exactly.
You know, but for me, the happiness.
Yes.
I don't know, is happiness even the right word?
It's an adrenaline.
Is it the right word?
It's endorphin. Your endorphins.
I think that's what it is.
You see that light in the distance, and that's gonna make me happy.
So for people who don't understand that addiction, is that a good way to describe it? How would you describe it, Chris? What would you feel?
Well, one of my biggest mistakes I make is I look for food when I'm hungry on the road. You know, when you're driving, you're like, I'm starving. And, you know, like Diana was always like, pack some nuts or a sandwich. I'm like, yeah. So she always says, if you don't fail, plan it, whatever that is.
If you don't
fail the plan.
Yeah, I know.
You fail to plan. You plan,
Yeah, I know
you
what
plan
you're
to
saying.
fail. You plan to fail if you don't fail. If you don't plan to
I'll tell
fail.
you,
Fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right.
This is my favorite fast food joke that never really did anything, but it's still my favorite.
Yeah.
I said, I know it's time to lose weight when I go to McDonald's, and the guy looks at me and he goes, "Hey."
That's great.
Hey.
That's great.
But when you start saying like, "Oh, it's my friend Kevin that works at the pizza place," it's like,
Yeah.
he's not my friend.
So
But
it's funny you say that. We talked about this early on when we started taping the show a couple of years ago, but we had discussed the fact that we liked the idea when you walk into Fred's Deli and someone's like, "What's up, Hersh?"
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's not good. Like, you want to be known at the gym. Like, hey,
exactly.
Hersh.
Yeah,
You know? Like, not at the fucking pizza place. But 2 sausages? Like, don't, you
wait.
know my order?
you walk into the gym, they're just like, "Can we see your membership card, please?"
You know,
sir?
like, no, Golden Buffet's next door.
Exactly.
Next door.
Like I've been here every day, and you don't know who I am, but you walk into the pizzeria, it's like,
Ooh,
"Hey,
what a treat! I went when I was on the road with Kevin. I went to Kevin James, by the way. I went to McDonald's with him, and I'm like, he's the same way.
Yeah.
He goes, you know what you do? You go to McDonald's. He goes, order a Big Mac, say no pickles. They have to make it fresh. I'm like, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's pickles in the sauce already. They
Yeah.
chopped up. So I'm like, it's a great idea. There's nothing like a fresh Big Mac.
That's a bonding thing." You're like, "Oh, you're the same as me,
So
and
Yes.
you have a hack, and now we're
Yes.
it's a bond."
Wait.
Have.
We went to the drive-through twice. We ate and went through again.
That's really fantastic. So Kevin James is a perfect example where he will go and he'll lose weight, and then you'll see him and he gains weight again, and
Yes.
he loses weight. He has the addiction.
Yes.
he has the addiction.
But when he gets disciplined, it's unbelievable.
Right.
He went like 40 days without eating once.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then 40 days without not stopping,
He was-
probably.
yeah, we had.
Gets-
Yes.
and
When
they
we
get
were.
jacked, and he's just
Yeah.
We were talking about eating one time and fasting. I'm like, I can't fast because I said some of the medication I have to take with food.
That's right. That's true, though. Yeah, no, all of us that
Some
situation.
of my meds I have to take with food, so I can't do fasting.
I'm going to give you a little McDonald's hack. Not that we should be doing
Yes,
this.
yes,
We're
yes.
trying to help each other.
It's a
but,
great episode.
From a financial standpoint and from a freshness standpoint and from a taste standpoint, ordering a double cheeseburger with mac sauce is a home run because you're not getting a lot of the other pomp and circumstance. You're getting the pickle, you're getting the mac sauce, you're getting 2 burgers and cheese, and it's a real deep dive right into the mac sauce. Double cheeseburger, $3, $4 cheaper with mac sauce. It's fresh, it's hot, it comes with a little tag on the wrapper, and you feel like you just you won lotto.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Save
then-
money. You ever
yeah.
dip a chicken nugget in the mac sauce?
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Dude, I would dip
Yeah.
your dick in
You could
mac
do it.
sauce. It wouldn't matter.
Oh my God! Give me the key, Junior.
You know, so it's a crazy thing that that we all have this. For me, if I know that I'm like in Limbrook or Valley Stream, well, I grew up down the block from the White Castle. Like, there's not a lot of White Castles. So in your mind, you know that you're good for 5 doubles, a sack of onion rings, and a vanilla shake.
Yeah.
And it's the best 1507 you spent in your entire life.
And you got to get 2 orders of fries because one order goes on the burgers, and then you eat the others like
right.
fries.
Oh, I'm due for White Castle.
And real sick deviants, unfortunately, when we order fries and there's a couple of onion rings in there, it's like there's nothing that makes us happier.
I love
You know?
onion ring.
Did you guys ever see Onion Rings are great? Did you guys ever see the movie Fatso? Because I just dropped.
Oh yeah, Tom
Dom
DeLuise.
DeLuise, it's one of my favorite movies
My
ever.
dad used to watch it all the time.
All right, well, I
love
just
that.
dropped
My
the movie
father,
line.
too.
Like, give me the key, Junior.
Yes. My father, I mean, that movie is probably 1977,
Great
maybe
movie.
1978. Your dad showed you that movie also?
Yeah, that's how we
Great.
introduced that
Tom
movie.
DeLuise
It's such a
great.
good. Tom
You know
DeLuise.
what?
When they went off the wagon, I was like, yes.
yes,
So
that's-
good.
Yeah,
So I'm
it's like porn.
I've
Yes.
been in a good place now for a few weeks, maybe 2 months. But every single day, almost like people who go to meetings for drinking and for drugging or whatever, like every day I think about it like I know I can have a bad day today and I don't want to be there because it's not just one bad day. One bad day turns into 2 bad days and 3 bad days, and
You know
that's
what?
what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
With me, and I'm in the middle of it right now, it all starts when I go back on the soda. I go back into the Coke.
That's your demon right there?
Coke is my biggest vice.
Wow.
I always say, don't drink your calories. I try not to drink my calories.
No, that's a waste.
I'll have a slice of pizza with just a little Coke. You think that's bad? Not bad, but next thing you know, I'm drinking soda just to wash it down. Next thing you know, I'm drinking soda like it's water. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm hydrating. I always
You know,
remember.
you're drinking it off the floor after you spill it.
Yeah.
David Hasselhoffing a burger on the floor.
drinking a
my
Coke?
God. Large Coke. Tim Crampier, who used to open for John Panette, said he used to keep boxes of like Hostess snacks, but not eat them, just look at them. Like he would like to look at them and touch them and not eat them.
You know the sad thing about that?
Smell a Twinkie.
And let's throw a little shout out to Kroms, who had a little procedure recently and is going through a little bit of a rough time, but God willing, he's going to be okay. But if I remember correctly, and I remember talking to Kroms when John Panette passed, and Tim was close with him, was very close with him, was writing for him and opening for him. I think that Panette had lost weight at the time when he was at one of his thinner weights when he passed, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Which sometimes you think, like, is that what does it for, like, if you're just heavy for a long time and then your body can't handle that crazy big jump like that?
Change, yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just when I saw this lady and I really felt her. I felt it. You know, I'm like, I know what the fuck she's feeling like. I've been there. And chances are I'll be there again. I hope I won't, but I know that I'm one bad step away from doing something that I don't want to do, and I'm really fighting every day to not be that person because it's just better, right? I mean, it's just better.
You have to eat, and also like being on the road doing comedy. Yeah. Sometimes if they don't feed you at the club, and you know now you're driving home, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're like, maybe I can last till breakfast tomorrow, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving home starving. Only things that are open at McDonald's and Taco Bell's.
Or you see a Wawa.
Exactly. Yeah. Wawa's I kind of like if I'm hungry on the road.
That's a healthy eating
because you can kind of get it like a salad there or something,
or like a turkey wrap, or you can get. Like,
you don't, but you know
you could.
You could.
No, but what Wawa's have and Quick Checks have are those automatic. They make sandwiches for you.
Yes, I get the meatball hero every time.
Right, but
Wawa's the best meatballs.
Yes. What is with
like,
that?
It's like
Why
high
are they
school.
so good?
It's high school meatballs.
And if you take the meatballs and put them on top of the mac and cheese.
Oh.
So and that's perfect. It's a perfect example when
Hawley, Pennsylvania, in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's right. We're going, right? Oh, that's right. What are those chips I always look for? I'm always looking for chips for you. What are those?
They had the ketchup chips I like there.
There was another one. It
salt
had
and vinegar?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. What were those chips? I forget.
It had the sauce. What's that sharp sauce? Horseradish.
The horseradish. No,
my
the
God.
Wawas have the horseradish cheddar.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Cheddar chips.
They're hard to
So
find.
now you guys are gonna, when you guys are there, you're gonna have to remind me about.
Yeah,
this
you
and let
shouldn't
me
put us
know.
on the same show together.
That's gonna be good.
We're planning food for 3 weeks from now.
That's right.
But it's funny you mentioned Wawa because for me, like, if I pass by an Arby's and I stop at a Wawa for a sandwich, I consider that I'm eating healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I could have had burgers and fries, and now I'm just having a 12-inch meatball hero.
Right.
You know, no cheese.
My last diet, I said I'm not getting any food through a window.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good tact.
No food through a window, so I would go to 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't. You know, you feel you get an egg salad sandwich, you don't feel as bad, but you know, it's
Like I've been good lately, and I've been going to the gym and stuff. Like normally I'd come in here with Doritos. I have pecans.
Pecans and Death Water. I don't know what that is.
Liquid Death Water. That's sugar-free water.
Yeah, you're doing good. We're all doing good, and
right now,
we're just I felt like I needed to talk about it today. I needed to get it out there. Yeah. A couple other things.
It's an everyday struggle.
I wanted to talk about. Something came up today. You're not old enough, but Roach is old enough, and Tony is also. Do you have any remembrance of any parent or grandparent in your life ever storing mothballs in a closet? Is that something that you have any recollection of?
I've heard of it, and I know the smell.
The smell is pungent.
My grandmother, my grandmother, my mother's mother always had mothballs.
Well, somebody
in the
mentioned it
closet,
today.
I love that smell.
Tony, do you remember?
It reminds me of old people. Yeah,
exactly.
It's an old people smell.
Yeah. How do you get their little legs apart?
So here's the thing. Very good.
We're gonna, baby.
So I looked it up today, and mothballs are simply what you'd think they are. They're to ward off moths in a closet or somewhere you keep clothing and stuff like that. And I haven't seen or smelled mothballs in a closet in 20-something years, and I've never seen a moth fly out of a fucking closet. So
and you've been in the closet for a long time.
So that's right. But
what's in this that makes the moth don't like?
There's some sort of a smell that's in there, but
I love that.
All those years that
I am no moth.
All those years that people were forcing mothballs at your throat, pardon the pun, we didn't need them. right?
No.
Yeah.
So it led me to another thing, which again I don't think you'll remember, but I think Tony and Chris might. Is that, do you guys remember when you were kids and you had a cut or you fell? Do you remember what type of thing that your parents put on you?
Never my parents, but you're thinking about mercurochrome, whatever it is.
Oh, dude, you nailed it.
My
What
friends,
the fuck?
my friends would come out with scrapes on the knee, and they would come out with this orange stuff. I'm like,
Orange,
what is it?
burnt red, yeah.
My parents don't love me. They're not putting orange. They're not putting orange stuff on my knee. They must not love me.
So do you remember putting mercurochrome on? I mean, you probably had a
it would
lot
stain
on your
skin.
leg. He's asking the wrong person. That was get all the mercurochrome. Get all of it.
They just had a bucket of it.
No, it's not working.
Just walking around with a bucket attached to my knee.
That I'd never even heard.
Mercurochrome was like this. It was like almost like a burnt orange red
like a
type of
blood orange.
elixir that they would like put on if you had a bruise or a cut. And I looked it up today, and this is fucking crazy. United States stopped making it. They considered it against the law in 1998 because the high content level of mercury that we were being poisoned. We were all
in the name.
We were being. That's right. It's
my
like,
God.
how is there mercury in this?
It's asbestosine.
Mercury ochrome. It was like,
Yeah.
How did they all like? I understand like they didn't know that cigarette smoke was bad, but the mercury was in the mercury ochrome.
Yeah.
They weren't called like cancerettes.
Yeah.
If they were called cancerettes, people wouldn't have been
exactly.
smoking them as
Right.
much.
Exactly.
Your
Right.
skin was stained for days.
Stained. You would be painted this burnt red orange forever.
Yep.
But also your wound would be okay.
Yes.
Right?
You won't be okay, but your fillings would fall out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But your parents didn't love you. You said.
They didn't love me. They didn't put orange stuff. Maybe
Maybe they did love you because then they were onto it. They were ahead
Maybe they
of their
did
time.
love me. They just didn't.
No,
love me
I'm
enough.
not putting that nonsense on Christopher.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you know what else?
Let him bleed out.
Wait, you know what else? I used to get mad that my parents never got us those little orange tablets that you put on your teeth to make them orange so you can brush it properly.
Oh, yeah,
They
no.
stained your teeth so your whole mouth is like red orange.
Yeah.
and you brush it off.
Yeah, that's all. But he's going back like 40 years.
Yeah, it was little like I guess it encouraged kids to make sure they got every tooth.
Wait, so that was all your rich friends had all this shit? Is that what it was?
Guess so. Yeah, around Concomia they were rich.
Nobody liked that at all. Well,
My friends had orange knees and orange teeth.
That's right. Before the show ends, I have to make sure I mention this. I posted something on Facebook earlier today, and it was just a random question. How many chugga chuggas come before choo choo? You know the expression chugga chugga chugga. You know?
Yeah.
So I said I knew what the right answer was, and I must have had 100 responses of people saying 2 chugga chuggas, 4 chugga chuggas. So I do have
What
to give respect.
maniac said 2?
I
Who
have
goes
to
chugga chugga choo choo.
A lot of people said 2. I will tell you while you guys are thinking. Don't say your answers yet.
Okay.
But I will tell you that the correct answer, at least according to Mark David Hirschman, Ronnie Schnell, who we talked about last week, it was his birthday. So Ronnie Schnell had the correct answer. I'm very proud of Ronnie. And one of the first students that I ever enrolled at the school that I'm currently at, my girl Jessica Garden, who just recently she announced that she's getting married. She's engaged to be married. Jess Garden and Ronnie, they basically answered the question right at the same time. So I said that I was going to give a shout out on the show to Ronnie, the first person, but since Jessica answered it and she didn't see his answer, both of them had the right answer. To me, I thought it was pretty clear cut. The answers were so bad, most of them, a lot of 2s or 4s.
If you just said 2, kill yourself.
So Roach says 6.
Yeah, 6.
6. Do you have an idea?
I'll go with 6.
Okay, 6 is not bad. I mean, to me, the answer is hands down 12. There's no question about
Oh,
it.
there's a lot of chuggas.
Yeah. Chugga 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 chugga
We
chugga
are
chugga chugga
autistic?
chugga chugga choo choo. Yeah, it's 12. It's
It is 12?
No, I don't know.
wow.
There's not. Again, I don't know if there's a by law correct
Are you
answer.
Rain Man? Like who says it that many times?
Well, you're saying chugga chugga choo
chugga
choo.
chugga 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 choo choo.
I thought you were talking
was
about
sick.
those little juice, those little
Chug jugs or whatever.
chug
they
jugs.
are, yeah.
You drank them and your throat
Chug
burned
juice.
from the plastic
Oh
taste.
God!
That was
Speaking
the
of,
best.
we almost left something out here. Speaking of throat burning, you are remarkably fresh off of what is considered, in my books, a major surgery for a man of your age, and that's not saying adults are not generally they don't do well with tonsil removal surgery. Your surgery was less than 2 weeks ago, right?
4 weeks ago, it was the tonsil,
Yeah.
the uvula they cut off,
Yeah.
and they shaved my soft palate.
Jesus
It was.
Christ.
It was.
I always said he needs to get
You know,
a soft palate
it was
shave.
very hard, your palate.
Yes,
So
he had a-
yeah.
The doctor's like, all right. He's like, you're gonna have. It's. He said. It literally said it's gonna feel like an M80 blew up in your mouth.
Really?
And he goes, but it should help with your sleep apnea. And he goes, you're not gonna have any gag reflex. And I was like, why are you telling me that?
the
Like,
cock.
Yeah.
Just in time for our trip to Holly, Pennsylvania.
Hey,
Wow.
It was so bad.
Was it bad? Did you get to eat a lot of ice cream? Is that like?
Yeah, but the
is
only
that
reason-
just like a wives' tale.
No, it's that's all you can eat
Yeah.
because even though I had like cream of wheat and those little tiny bumps killed my throat. It's,
Really?
you gotta because they call it and then they cauterize your throat.
Yeah.
And you know what? I said I had kidney stones, broken bones. Back in March, I had my rotator cuff surgery. This was worse than all of them.
Really?
It's like I was on maximum dose Percocet for like 10 days, and that it took the pain away. But when you swallow something, the only thing. So I had I went through 11 half gallons of rainbow sherbet because the first couple hurt, but then it starts to freeze back there.
And it's a little smoother. It's a little bit of smoother type of thing.
And it just like it took the pain away for a little while.
Wow.
So are you all the way back right now, or
I still hear it in my voice a little bit. I say I'm
Okay.
like 90.
Okay.
90%, and I'm hoping, I think it helped my sleep a little bit.
Okay.
We'll see.
But I mean, you're using the CPAP machine, right? I mean, which is
I have the Inspire implant.
I didn't know you did the Inspire.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
what?
but you were using the CPAP for a while, weren't you?
Yeah, you can't qualify for the Inspire unless you're CPAP intolerant. So they look at your numbers, and they see that, all right, 2 hours it's off. I kept pulling it off. But
Oh, okay.
But with the CPAP, if you sleep for 2 hours with it and take it off, the rest of your sleep is not as bad for some reason.
Correct.
It's almost like you're training your brain to sleep.
Yeah,
with it.
no, I sleep with one. I've had one for
You
the
do?
past year, and it's changed my life. I mean, it's changed. I went for I did a home study for my buddy who's
Yeah.
a sleep tech, and they're like, no, you need a. What happened was when I went for a colonoscopy and they woke me up, the anesthesiologist said, listen, I'm not a sleep technician, but I had to keep on lifting your head up so that you could breathe during the
Yeah.
procedure.
Yeah.
So that next day I called up.
And all these years, Stacy couldn't have done that for you. She's
No.
pushing your head
well,
down.
no, the pillow kind of masked the whole thing.
true.
But now I saw an ad the other day for it's almost like a neck brace for sleep apnea. They
Yeah.
have everything.
Honestly, I think it's either the CPAP or the Inspire.
Yeah.
But the Inspire doesn't work for everyone either, though.
No,
So-
I don't think it wasn't the answer for me. It wasn't
Okay.
the answer, so that's why my doctor's like, we need to make room back there.
You just have to
Yeah.
keep taking things out of your head.
Yeah.
Until you go to sleep.
And after this, the only thing they could like give your tongue like radio frequencies to shrink it
A tonguectomy, yeah.
because I have a fat tongue.
Yeah.
He goes, you got a fat tongue. I was like, screw you.
Yeah.
Your mother's got a fat tongue.
But maybe, did they ever say that you should have removal of your meat scarf? Is that what's possible?
Oh, liposuction maybe.
No, I mean,
But you know what's so funny? I'm looking at your neck,
yeah,
and we have similar necks.
yeah.
And when I went, I'll never forget, I went for my first sleep study.
Yeah.
And I used to do a joke about this. It was true, word for word. The nurse said, you got sleep apnea. I
Yeah.
can tell you by looking at you. I said, how do you know? She goes, you have a chinek.
Jeanette, yeah.
And she goes, it's because it's almost like instead of going like
Right.
a right angle, we go
a
slope.
cartoon,
It's a
yeah.
slope.
Yeah.
Well, I finally am starting to get a neck now, which is nice, and Stacy
Yes.
noticed that you did too. But the sleep apnea machine is a life changer. I will tell you that there were two things that I noticed pretty quickly. If I was at work for 8-9 hours, there was always a time during the day where my eyes would start closing. Always doesn't happen anymore. But the biggest telltale sign is if I was on a road trip by myself to Saratoga or to Binghamton to pick up the girls, I'd be fighting those eyeballs.
I hate that.
Fighting it.
I gotta
And
pull over.
Now it doesn't. It never happens. Like I'm wide awake. The whole car load of people is sleeping. My friends are passed out drunk,
Right.
and I am totally wide awake simply because of the CPAP machine. It's a
I-
life changer.
Plus, I started getting boners again.
Hey.
Morning wood. You know morning wood?
Yes, they're back.
Yeah, with sleep apnea, you're like, where's my morning wood? Then all of a sudden you saw sleep in bed. It's like, boing, 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 boing. Hey, good morning, guy.
I have that right now.
I gotta pee, but let's go in the shower.
I do have to mention before the end
Morning
of the show.
wood, no gag reflex.
Hey, I'm a
Speaking
catch.
guys- yeah, exactly.
Speaking of morning wood, I
Wish
got
I
a
was
call.
more flexible.
I got a call yesterday morning at around 10 o'clock. I'm just about heading into the shower to go to work, and it's one of my best friends, my friend Johnny Oates. not the old manager of the Texas Rangers who died of brain cancer. Johnny Oates is a different guy. Anyway,
And was he with Darryl Hall?
He's like, that's right. So he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going in the shower. So I'm like, dude, I got to go in the shower. What do you want? He's like, come pick me up. I'm at the hospital. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, I got to get stitches. I smashed my leg into the base of the umbrella thing. I got 10 stitches, and I need a ride home. And my wife had to go to work, and my brother's not around. So anyway, that's right. So I speed over to get him. Okay, I speed over to get him, drop him to his house in Wantaw, and I'm not even paying attention. And I pull up to his house, and I look. I'm like, holy fucking shit! Like, dude, the siding looks great. Like the gray siding with black shutters. I'm like, finally, the fucking house looks great. You needed it so badly. He's like, you pulled up to the wrong house. And I look back and I'm like, this is a guy who I started comedy with, so he has the greatest sense of humor. He was not pissed or upset at all. He's like, no, Dick, the fucking house is right there.
You got rid of that shit wood.
That shit siding. That shit.
I see your wife lost weight. Nah, it's the neighbor's wife.
Yeah.
So,
You got rid of that yellow shit siding.
We had a good laugh, and my hunch is he'll be getting his siding done within the next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, dude, we're at the end of the show. That was so much fun. Sometimes things happen spontaneously, organically. We did not plan to have Roach on tonight.
It was divine intervention.
This was divine
like moving through
intervention.
a plane crash.
We've kidded about him not being here. But we love him. We've always loved him. The fact that we're here with him the night of his first show, and hopefully the night of many, many shows. Chris Roach, it's been a pleasure. We wish you all the best. We love you.
Thanks, guys.
Tell us what you have coming up. Promote what you got.
Well, Friday I'm in Rochester with Kevin.
Yeah.
And then
do you know the venue you'll be at Rochester?
I don't.
All right.
But Rochester, if you're in,
Look it up. Look
listen,
up
if
Kevin
you're in
James'
Rochester, you have nothing else to do.
Yeah,
You know.
but,
I have family in Rochester. I'll tell them.
My August is looking really light, so if anybody has anything.
Okay. Good.
You
All
ever
right.
like the comedian? You're like, sometimes I look at my schedule, then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, why don't I have anything in August?
Yep.
All right, so you got Rochester coming up, and then you got the podcast every Tuesday.
Podcast every
at 7 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Okay.
And
Good.
What else? At Roach Comic on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, you've been doing some new social media stuff.
Yeah,
You've been popping some stuff on there.
Yeah, I got a social media person now that's pushing me, so it's good.
You're doing great. So awesome.
Trying, man.
Mikey, what do you have coming up?
Tomorrow night I'm doing a show. We're raising money for Homes for Veterans at the Columbus Institute on 69th Avenue Street in the city.
Yep, Manhattan, right on Columbus Circle.
And then Monday night I will be in Charleston, South Carolina at Dreamers for James. I think you've done that.
Oh
gig, right?
no,
For James?
I just got back from Myrtle Beach 2 days ago from the Comedy Cabana.
Oh, nice.
But I hung out with James. He's in Cary.
Yeah, James is awesome. I'm staying at Carrie's house, and
good luck.
I'll be at Dreamers in Charleston, South Carolina. If you know anybody in South Carolina, spread the word.
So I told you I texted a friend of mine. She's like, I happen to live in Charleston, South Carolina, so
awesome.
I'll be there on Monday.
Awesome,
So my
very
friend
cool.
Caitlin's going to be there with her
Excellent.
husband.
Oh,
So
that's
that's going to be good.
awesome. Thank you.
Anthony, what do you have with the Knock 'em Dead Traveling Roadshow?
Thank you very much. Knock'emDeadComedy.com. You can get information on us, how you can hire us for your personal event, your corporate event, your fundraising event, any event. I'd just like to quickly point out there isn't a universally agreed upon number of chugga sounds before the choo-choo when imitating a train. The most common and accepted number is 2.
Wow.
Oh, chugga, chugga.
However,
Chugga,
some
chugga,
people
chugga.
prefer more like 4 or 8, depending on the desired length or speed of the train.
And then there's the right answer, 12. So, again, thank you to our guest, Christopher Roach. Thank you to my co-host, Mike Keegan, to our man on the knobs, Tony Walker. As usual, you are going to share and like and follow us on the Hershey and the Keegs Facebook page
Smash
and
the subscribe
Instagram
button.
and Twitter and TikTok. We are all over. Follow us. We love you. We will not be here next week. Tony's going to be away. We will be back in 2 weeks, and we will have some special things in store for you. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.